This video is going to be all about value judgments, the value we place onto things, okay? So value judgments are something we make all day long. They're something that are baked into our core belief systems as well. The things we value are the things that we want to gravitate towards, and the things that we do not value are the things that we are repelled by or we just don't feel magnetized towards. The reason I believe this is an important topic is because the value we place on the things really impacts our lives. We could very well be valuing the wrong things. I believe throughout our lives we all value things and then later on we don't value them. Ever had an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend and you thought they were the absolute best thing in the world, and then later on you're like, why the hell was I dating that person? Why? Because you placed value onto them, okay? You actually projected value onto them. And then later on you actually took that value off and you realize that they weren't all they were cracked up to be, okay? This is a prime example of the value we place onto things. Now, the reason it's important to actually evaluate what value we're putting onto things is because if we're putting value onto the wrong thing and not giving us anything back, then we are essentially overestimating the value of something. This tends to happen a lot in relationships. So let's say there is a man who is putting a lot of value on a woman, but the woman is being very abusive towards the man. She is treating him like crap. She's not valuing him at all. She's making him feel terrible, but he's placing so much value onto her. Is that value that is well placed? No, it is not, because actually he is getting nothing back from her. Let's suppose he's doing this with multiple people in his life. He's doing it with her, he's doing it with his family, he's doing it with friends, he's doing it with all sorts of people, and actually they're not giving him anything back. This can result in him having low self-esteem, low self-worth, and a belief that everyone is crap, because actually he is placing value onto the wrong things, the wrong people. This is why I believe we need to really examine where we are putting value in our lives, the things that we are giving importance to. It could very well be that we are giving energy to things and people that don't deserve our energy and that we should not be valuing so highly. Now, understanding the concept of value is super important because actually without acknowledging that we make value judgments all the time, it can be really difficult to change any of this stuff because we don't necessarily realize what we're doing. I want to say this, just because you're valuing something in your life doesn't necessarily mean it has value, okay? So you might be valuing a person. Yes, every person has inherent value, but are they offering value to your life? Perhaps they're not. So they literally have no value to offer you, but you are placing so much value onto them. And this is something that is really toxic and can really deplete our energy, and our self-esteem can be diminished from these kinds of behaviors. But fear not, because this is something that we can reevaluate all of the time if we are doing this. Let's suppose you're thinking about a dream job, and at one point you thought that this dream job was going to bring you all this happiness and it was your absolute dream, and now you just do not want that job at all. You can't imagine anything worse. Your value has changed. Has the job changed? No. There's someone out there that is placing that exact same value that you were onto that job, but the job doesn't have necessarily any inherent value, okay? So it doesn't mean that it's not valuable in and of itself. It doesn't offer anything to anyone, but what it does mean is that value is projected onto people and things. And again, this is something really important to take stock of. Where are you placing value in your life which maybe you shouldn't be? Where are you placing value where you should be, and maybe you can stop placing more value? What is giving you life force? What is giving you energy? What is actually sustaining you and nourishing you, and what isn't? If you are someone that is an overgiver, someone that overfunctions in relationships, I believe this is something that you need to take stock of fairly regularly, because if you tend to give and give and give and don't receive much back, this is a prime example of you placing value on things that aren't giving any value back. Please listen to me when I say you are not alone in this, because this oftentimes happens throughout growing up, you know. I believe this is something that affects every single person. I think if you're watching this, you can probably relate to it, where you can think, okay, well actually I give value to this part of my life or this person, and actually they didn't really give me much back, so I was misplacing value. But you didn't necessarily know that at the time, or perhaps that person or thing was giving you something at one point and then later they weren't. So let's say you're sitting there and you're thinking, okay, Jack, this is great, but what do I do to actually practically implement it? Well, you need to take stock of what you are actually valuing in the first place. What are your values, okay? What do you like? What kind of qualities do you like in a person? What kind of things do you value in yourself? These are questions you need to be asking, because this is going to actually help you to redirect where you put your energy. Self-worth, for one reason or another, is something that people tend to struggle with, and self-worth does come from the self, okay? So it is really important to acknowledge where you may be putting your self-worth in the hands of other people. How does this person see me? How am I being perceived by this person, this person, this person? Maybe if I got a girlfriend, maybe if I got a boyfriend, maybe if my boyfriend would act like this towards me, maybe if this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. Those kinds of things, externalizing your self-worth isn't self-worth at all, because actually you are putting your worth in their perception of you. Please, after this video, check out my video on internal locus of control versus external locus of control, because this talks all about that, okay? It talks about whether you perceive your life to be in your control from behind your eyes and your perception and what you're valuing in things, or it's affected by the outside, by people judging you, okay? This is something that we need to actually get a good grasp on if we want to have a good, strong, stable sense of self-esteem. Listen, if you've enjoyed this video, I would love it if you hit subscribe. It really helps me out and I would love to interact with you more. If you could comment on the video, then I can reply back to you and then we can actually have a chat about some of this stuff. And if you would like to donate to my Patreon, you can find the link in the description below. I'm also offering life coaching sessions. I would love to help you out with anything you might be struggling with, from relationships to career advice to general well-being, or anything else you might be struggling with. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out my other videos and see you on the flip side. Ciao for now.